Argentina versus España in the big 2026. And this is the final, the big one. We've got some big things to talk about. Obviously, we're going to get into predictions, but first things first, let's talk about how these two teams have already fared up in the World Cup, in the run-up to the final. We've seen Spain beat the likes of Portugal, Belgium and France in the last couple of games. We've seen Argentina have a few dodgy games where people are saying maybe it's rigged towards Messi winning his second World Cup. I don't know. Regardless, he's still the fucking GOAT, so he can shut the fuck up. But yeah, this is a tasty one. I think both semi-finals, you could argue, I know Argentina are the champions of the last World Cup, but you could genuinely argue that both underdogs won. I know I am living in England, so yeah, maybe that's because I'm listening to a lot of English media, but two very, very good wins in the semi-final. One interesting thing I think about Argentina is, in comparison to Spain, especially if we're going off names, they haven't particularly, other than England, played like that many big nations. They've struggled to get through some of them games, which you could say is a bit of a worry if you're an Argentinian and an Argy-badgy. No, get the fuck out of here, because that's what the Argentinians are like. But on one hand, you could say what I think most people would say, which is they haven't played that great of an opposition other than England, and you know they've snuck away through some of the games, some arguably dodgily ways in getting through those games. But at the same time, they have still got through those games, so that in itself shows that they are winners. And to be honest with you, I know it was pretty much the same squad that won the World Cup, but I am pretty surprised. Not based on necessarily how they've played and who they've come up against, but from the start of the tournament, I didn't think Argentina were going to do that well at all. You can go and watch my predictions for that. I think I actually, for some stupid reason, predicted Austria to finish top of the group because they were in the same group as Argentina. What a dumb fuck I am. Maybe I should stop talking about football and go and get a proper job. But yeah, Spain, on the other hand, they've squeezed past us some couple of games as well. The one against Belgium, the one against Portugal. Marino coming on and scoring late on. If you were to ask me, however, who's been more impressive so far, I would say Spain. Now, people have been calling Spain boring. Yes, but they get the job done. And like I said, they've played the likes of Portugal, Belgium, France. They've played bigger teams. I know Belgium haven't been particularly great for a good couple of years now. Portugal haven't been particularly, they've been particularly underwhelming, especially with like the midfield and stuff at this World Cup, and you know the whole Ronaldo thing and whatever. But forget about that. They've still managed to beat these big teams. That for me makes them more impressive than Argentina. And I think with Argentina, one massive reason that they got past England was because of England's tactics. Now, yes, they have quality players, obviously. They have the fucking GOAT at the end of the day in Lionel Messi. So if you allow him to do what he wants to do, then yeah, he's going to do what he did against England. But Spain aren't going to do that. So really, I think if Spain go ahead, there's a good chance to win this game. And can they go ahead? Yeah, they fucking can. They might not have an out-and-out proper number 9, but Oyarzabal can put the ball in the back end in there. Lamine Yamal hasn't had the greatest of tournaments, in fairness, but he can still put the ball in the back end in there. They've got capable players to do so. And if we're talking about player versus player, another debate in this, other than just the final itself, is could this potentially decide who wins the Ballon d'Or? And does this game consist of the two main Ballon d'Or contenders? Now, going into this tournament, yes, there were names that you would throw in the hat, but I wouldn't necessarily say there was anyone who you'd go, yeah, he pretty much defo won it, unless something goes madly wrong in this World Cup. As long as he gets decently far, he's probably won it. I wouldn't say there was anyone like that. I know PSG won the Champions League. Arsenal fans would try and claim Rice should have got it because he won the Premier League. Chill out, mate. Chill out. You know what I mean? We've done that quite a lot, and you know we've only had one bloke win the Ballon d'Or. That bloke for me has been Spain's best player in this tournament. One of the main reasons, really, why they've got through. He's stepped up massively when other players haven't, and I think for me, him along with Messi probably will win the Ballon d'Or, based on the fact that there isn't a clear standout. No Messi plays, for instance, Miami. I know Rodri just came back from injury. And as a City fan, he still did quite well. Still had some very good games, like in the cup final. He was great against Arsenal, but he hasn't been to his very best. But he's got to his best back in this World Cup, and I genuinely think whoever wins will win the World Cup, because I think Argentina without Messi, big problems there, and I think maybe not usually, but particularly this tournament, we've seen in the Euros final, Rodri got taken off at half time. Zubamendi came in and didn't notice as much of a difference. Actually, Spain went on to win. I think both goals came in the second half, didn't they? But this time round, I think if you take both of them out their teams, honestly, both of them could have got knocked out very early on. So, yeah, I think whoever wins this on Sunday is probably going to win the Ballon d'Or. Now, I know Rodri, I said Spain would probably not get as far. If it was, I think they definitely wouldn't get as far. How far they would get without Rodri, I don't know, based on the way the players have played in this tournament. However, if we're comparing that to Argentina, I think if you can stop Messi in this game, which England did up until probably after England scored in that game in the semi-final, then I think you're going to control it much more than the other way around. I think if Rodri is out, if you can get Rodri out the game, Argentinians, which they will try to do by probably like kicking him and giving him a bit of a fuss, which I don't think Spain are going to deal with as much. I think Spain will get more irritated by it than potentially other countries, because Spain are tiki-taka, bop the ball. They don't want to get touched, you know what I mean? They're just chill guys. They want to get through the game playing their football. They don't want to get kicked. So I think they'll get more frustrated than other teams. But I think if you can get Rodri out the game, Spain, although the players haven't played particularly well this tournament, in the last game against France in particular, they still have had players who have stepped up. Oyarzabal was tipped to maybe win the Golden Boot. Doesn't look like he's going to do that, but he has still stepped up with goals and with moments. Lamine Yamal, again, like I said, hasn't had his best tournaments, but he can still step up with moments. And I said Spain's probably going to win this game if they go 1-0 up. And I do think they're going to go 1-0 up. And I enforce that even more by the fact that Spain's defence has been one of the better parts in terms of area of their team for them this tournament, which has helped them. I think they've only conceded that one goal against Belgium. And like I said, without Messi, Argentina don't create a lot anyway, so I think you'd have to be a very, very good team to break down that France defence. Messi can do that if you let him into the game. I don't see Spain doing that. I think if there was one area that I was going to definitely point out prior to the France game in the Spain team that could potentially be an area where teams now look upon, was Unai Simon, because obviously before the Belgium game he hadn't conceded, but then I watched that goal in the Belgium game and the shot went it went like miles away from him. It was like there, and he's here, and he just stands there and lets it in. That's like a typical Edison thing. That's why City fans wanted him out. I thought, hang on a minute, his defence must be fucking saving him to fuck here if he can't even save a shot like that, and he hasn't conceded a goal so far. But then in the France game, anytime there was a bit of a chance and it was on target, he dealt with it quite comfortably. So I don't even know if that's an area that you can look upon. The only thing is, Argentina are a bit like Real Madrid. You look at them and you go, shit. I said at the start of the tournament, I predicted Austria to actually win their group. That's because I looked at their team, and although it was pretty much the same team as the one that won the World Cup in 2022, I thought the 4 years older, a lot of the players are in much worse places based on the way they've been performing for the club than they were 4 years ago. And yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't see what they've got other than Messi. And then they just keep winning, and you still write them off in the final. You can't write them off, that's what I will say, because those Argentinians, we've heard stuff in the past about how England camps have been like, oh, the Man United players go over there, the Chelsea players over there, the Liverpool players separate themselves, and it's been a bit tension because of the clubs they play for. Well, I don't know if there's any tension in the camp, but certainly doesn't look that way on the pitch, because they are the most patriotic blokes on a football pitch, probably out of anyone in the tournaments. So you can never write them off. And they have just won the last World Cup and they're back in the final. So yeah, well, this is a big one. What do you think? I'm going to go Spain to win. I can see Spain winning like 1-0 or something. I don't think it's going to be that great of a final. I think it's going to be very much Spain control the ball. Argentina don't really create anything. But because Spain haven't got that like lethal proper number 9, that's the problem for a bit. But I think in the end they get the goal and win the game. What do you think? España or Argentina 2026 World Cup final? Yeah, I'm filming this before that absolute banger on Saturday for third place. Who's the biggest loser, England or France? Can't wait for that one as well. What's your prediction for that? If you give two shakes, because I don't, but there's nothing fucking else on, so I'll watch it. But yeah, in a bit.